Harper's Bazaar called it the world's #1 literary festival, and for all good reason. 70 authors, artists, performers, the literati and the glitterati from Sri Lanka and around the world converged in Galle, one of the most beautiful cities in the south, over 4 days for a literary festival like no other. After a hiatus of 4 years, the Galle Literary Festival 2024 took place last week. A host of actors, writers, performers, authors, and various other people in the creative arts were all here in Galle, which kept the city abuzz. The Galle fort was initially built by the Portuguese in the 16th century, but fortified extensively by the Dutch in the 17th century, well evidenced by the gorgeous Dutch architecture that remains a mainstay in this part of the country. Welcome to Kaleidoscope, where we are positive, daring, different. Ahead on the show, we talk about all things Mia, a natural dye innovation, and visit the longest installation in Galle during GLF. Coming to you from Galle, we'd like to say a huge thank you to the partners on our show, Srilanka Live, CDB, The Daily Morning. Thank you so much for always being with us. So if you like our show, don't forget to follow us. We're on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram and LinkedIn.
CDB Hybrid Leasing. Enjoy exclusive interest rate and much more for hybrids, plug-in hybrids and EV vehicles.
And we are bringing CDB Snapshot to you from Galle of the week that was. Sri Lanka's total exports reached nearly $15 billion in 2023, a 0.39% decline compared to 2022. The Central Bank of Sri Lanka is to negotiate debt restructuring with holders of defaulted US bonds. Jagat Manuwarna wins Best Director at the Dhaka International Film Festival's Asian section for Whispering Mountains. Astronomers discover water molecules on a small exoplanet 97 light-years from Earth. Time Out names New York City the best for 2024. Rats are taking selfies. A photographer trains rats to take selfies in an experiment.
You focus on your goals. We will take care of the risks. Srilanka Life.
Welcome to Srilanka Live News Capsule. With sustainability at the fore of many an export industry, the apparel industry in particular needs to up its ante when it comes to its manufacturing processes. The dyeing process, which therefore comes on top. 3H Innovations, which began working on dyes for the food industry, are now using the technology to create color palettes for the apparel industry to make it a 100% natural process. Co-founder of Thuru and 3H Innovations, as well as Director of Trade Sri Lanka, Heminda Jayavira, joins us at the studio for some insights. Heminda, welcome. What made you think of going into inventing natural dyes? What is the USP?
We were looking at innovations in the food industry, and one of the biggest problem we faced was there was no natural dyes. So even the dyes we had to get from the synthetic material. So then we were doing some innovations on natural dye for food products. So that was the initiation. Then it came up really nice, and then we thought, okay, somebody actually sort of gave the idea, why don't you extend it to apparel industry? That is one of the biggest issues right now in the apparel industry. The whole dyeing process is one of the biggest sustainability issue. We came up with few colors, not the entire color palette, but 4 to 5 colors, and obviously with that colors we can get a lot of shades. And right now we are sort of got a lot of stability tests which are very important.
What sort of natural ingredients do you use in this process?
100% natural, we can assure that. But then there are certain materials that we have to use for color stability. So those are the things now we are testing, because there are a lot of regulations in the textile industry, not for the material that we use for the color, but for the stability. We can assure 100% now all those materials that we use are also natural, and we can pass the test used by the apparel industry.
Given the amount of dyes that are used in the apparel industry, do you think there will be enough of supply once this gets into the main market?
First of all, when we started the entire process, the first thing that we looked at was the material. So we didn't, I mean, there was so much of material that we heard, like flowers and different things that we could use, but then we were very skeptical about the sourcing part. So we sort of first, before even getting into the research part, we assured that the material supply is there. So all the 4 colors we developed are based on the abundance of material. So I think that we can assure.
How will this innovation actually hold up to the scrutiny of the discerning buyer in the apparel industry?
We have to make sure that the price also falls into the same level of what the synthetic dye or the synthetic process gives. We know that we can be in par with synthetic dye, so I think that's the biggest challenge. And the other challenge is, as I mentioned, for stability, because we have to pass through various tests like ultraviolet test, so the color should not fade. Then the washing cycles, number of washing cycles, 25 or 50, the color should not shade. Then also the pH changes, because it's a natural. Then if there's a pH change, there can be color changes. All this has to be tested, and abrasion test. So we are in the process of doing it. For that, we need to add a certain amount of is natural material that we have to add, but then we have to make sure that those are within the approved materials in the apparel industry. That is what we are testing right now. So far, our test has been very successful.
And now for a look at our markets. At the Colombo Stock Exchange, the all-share price index remained virtually unchanged, with turnover levels remaining low due to diminishing investor interest. Oil prices remain steady at around $80 per barrel, with tensions in the Red Sea being offset by increased Russian oil supplies and a drop in overall demand. Gold prices were firm at $2,000 per ounce, with economic uncertainty and the possibility of US interest cuts making it likely that gold prices would rise further. The IMF recently published its evaluation of Sri Lanka's performance in the first term of the EFF program. 60 of the 73 commitments have been met by Sri Lanka by end November without delay. 13 have not been met, with 8 of those to be carried forward to the second term. The other 5 were irreversibly not met, meaning they have to be left aside. It's a year of firsts. This January, the world's largest cruise ship, Icon of the Seas, set sail on its maiden voyage from Miami. The ship is 1,200 feet long, 250,000 tons heavy, and looks like a multi-layered birthday cake. There's something mesmerizing about the details of the mundane, and the winners of the Close-Up Photographer of the Year competition can attest to that. Today we introduce a rather peculiar rodent into our Let's Talk series. Mia. Now Mia is all about inspiring a sense of aspiration and self-reliance among the people of Sri Lanka. It promotes creating opportunities from adversity and countering negativity and the all too familiar all hope is lost aspect. The story behind this production is as intriguing as its premise, and I have with me today the producer of the show, Randula De Silva, to discuss all things Mia and the need for such a narrative in contemporary Sri Lanka. Randula, welcome. Why Mia?
Firstly, at the animal rat, Mia is a menace almost to the structure, goes through many cities, lives a very different life, and you can't ever get rid of it, regardless of what you do. Secondly, this story is actually inspired and based out of a Jataka tale, a Buddhist Bodhisattva Jataka tale that is called Chulasatta Jataka. It's based on a person who, it's a rags to riches story basically. It's based on a person, the Bodhisattva character, that picks up a dead body of a rat and becomes a rich person or a millionaire in our terms now. So this really draws inspiration of how do you go from nothingness to everything, and therefore Mia.
How can Sri Lankans identify with these protagonists?
This character of Moda Tharindu, that's the main character of the teledrama. The name Moda Tharindu itself is a meme. It's a meme that is vastly used in the Sinhala social media that has been there for a couple of years now. And his life and many lives of his supporting characters are inspired by thousands of stories that we come across every day in our lives. Be it from entrepreneurs, be it from innovators, be it from young people who are frustrated working in places that does not use their fullest potential. All of these stories are distilled into this one character, and we feel that anybody who is local, who is doing a daily job or is creative and is trying to innovate something will have different facets that they can relate to in the main character and many other characters connected to it.
Would you say that Mia is an imperative watch for Sri Lankan youth?
If you have a flavor or a keenness or a hunger for something unconventional, if you want to find some inspiration on how to disrupt the status quo, and if you want to find some inspiration and hope, definitely it's a must watch. It will be a bitter pill to swallow if you are resistant to change, if you are comfortable in your very small comfort zone. It might be a bitter pill to swallow because it does push your boundaries to think bigger, to think differently and to think creatively. But I guarantee anybody who chooses to watch it, you'll have fun.
Now that you've done and dusted the teledrama, what are the key takeaways you would like the audience to have?
Key takeaways is you don't have to really settle for what's seen before, what's expected, or what looks to be the normal way or the status quo. You can create your own way, and even creating this teledrama itself was us creating that own way because we worked with an industry that is completely alien to us, and we disrupted a lot of norms in that industry too with the way that we worked. So because we have all chosen to stay in Sri Lanka and build Sri Lanka, it's important that we understand where people's mindsets are and try to align with what needs to be aligned with and try to change what needs to be changed in order for us to really not go back to the same mistakes over and over again that we've been making since independence.
Good luck with all your future projects, Randula.
Thank you so much.
For the very first time in the history of the Galle Literary Festival, aligned with the theme of fostering the creative arts, an installation that ran almost the full length of Hall de Galle caught the eye of many a passerby. The 50-foot-long, 14-foot-high installation called The Cube represented the contemporary vibe of oceanfront living on the southern coast by South Beach Valleygamma, a project by Balman Studio headed by John Balman.
Everyone said no one's done an installation before. And like South Beach Valleygamma is one of the first of its kind in Valleygamma, we wanted to do something that was a first. We wanted people to interact with the product and not just a billboard or a brochure. So we wanted to have people come into what we call the cube around here and experience, hopefully, what we feel will be contemporary beachfront living.
The cube, with its mirrored black floors, sleek cubes and the tropical colour palette of blue, green and pink on the truss bars all speak of a contemporary vibe. A creative palette that is all about living on a tropical isle, narrating an entirely new lifestyle by the sea.
Some of us are lucky to call Sri Lanka home. It's the most beautiful island in this world. And we wanted to be here in Galle Fest because it's a really creative platform. And the Galle Literary Fest, brings in people from all around the world. And we wanted to say, come and be a part of our community in South Beach. Our ground floor is really a platform for the creative arts. We've got a contemporary art studio, we've got a recording studio, and we hope to, have artists from all around the world one day live and stay with us and something beautiful come out of it.
Catching the spirit and the buzz of the Galle Literary Festival, we will see you next week.